Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Legends. Welcome to a monster analysis on the newest and latest fire legendary forsaken monster, Zenfira. Once upon a time, there was a pact. Forest monsters would provide curative ointments to the leaders of Hell, who were in a desperate need of them. In exchange, Hell monsters made a non-aggression commitment valid for 5 years. To seal this pact, an expedition of nature monsters took a batch of ointments to Hell, but on their way out they accidentally left someone behind. A little centaur called Zenfira, who had followed all the adults into Hell and got lost within. For days she waited for the nature monsters to come back and pick her up, but no one came. She couldn't believe they had forsaken her. Would they even be looking for her around the forest? Did anyone even care? Time passed and Zenfira's hope vanished. She got used to Hell, she even made some allies. Rabies and the Inheritor taught her some stuff she needed. Taught her that she didn't need to suppress her anger. She could use it to hurt others and become more powerful. Now Zenfira has become something of a spirit of hatred and is extremely dangerous one. She's feared even by her allies in Hell. Who can stop a monster that has forgotten how to love or how to respect or care? If you see Zenfira coming your way, your best bet is to hide. Wow, that is a really good backstory to this monster, especially how she came to be a forsaken monster. I can't believe the nature monsters left her behind, but who knows, maybe there's more to the story. Maybe there was a reason the nature monsters couldn't get her. Like I said before, SocialPoint should really make like a series, like explain the whole Monster Legends story, because it is full with so much. But with that being said, we are here for a monster analysis. So let's see what this monster has to offer. Let's jump right into it. She boasts a life of 35,588. Actually, I shouldn't say boasts. In the fire category, it's not even that high, to be honest. It's an okay life. What she does boast, however, is her power. Look at that power, 3707. In the whole entire Monster Legends kingdom, this is one of the highest powers in the game. Overall, it is the 4th highest stat, tied with Devestress and Nitro Blaster. And in the fire category specifically, it is second only to Rador, who still has the highest power of 3850. But I mean, come on, Rador, he doesn't even compare to the monsters of the current meta. So I would technically go ahead and say Zenfira is the strongest fire monster, tied with, of course, Nitro Blaster. 3707, that is incredibly powerful. That is incredible. Moving on, what's interesting about this monster is that the power is insanely high, but so is her speed stat, 3608. Once again, talking about every single legendary monster, this is the 4th highest stat, tied with monsters like Bell Breath and Hornet. And in the fire category specifically, it is the fastest speed stat, tied with Bell Breath. So this monster has the 2nd highest power, but we might as well say the 1st highest power in the fire category and the fastest speed stat in the fire category. So already she's blowing us away in terms of stats. And now let's talk about the trait. She's a forsaken monster, so she's obviously going to have an evolving trait. So she starts the game unranked with tough, 35% chance to not get hit with negative effects. At rank 1, look, she makes herself even stronger. She gives herself self-damage increase. So already she has an insanely high power, but she starts the game off, if you have her at rank 1, with a damage boost. And then at rank 3, you get immunity to possession, so you won't be able to be possessed by exclusive possessions or regular possessions. And status caster rank 4, very interesting, first time we've seen this, an area random hater. So your whole allies will get a random hater. Now, considering there are taunt monsters, can you just imagine if this monster gives herself taunt hater and you have that self-damage increase, and then you could potentially OTK monsters, right? Especially if you have an AoE and it's a mega taunt monster, you will obliterate them. So it's going to be very interesting to see. From what I can tell on the trait specifically, it seems like she's going to be a pure attacker. That's what I'm saying. The area random hater, and this is my first time seeing this monster, okay? So it's going to be like a complete first reaction to what she has to offer. But that's very interesting. That is very interesting. In terms of relics, she can hold the amulet relic and the staff relic. So it's interesting because normally attackers tend to be able to hold the sword relic and you'd give a Jxnathan sword or what be it. But with the staff, it's interesting because you can never run out of stamina. You know, Cane of Atlantis. You can drain enemy stamina. A Noblation staff. You can energize your staff if you don't have a Cane of Atlantis. You have so much you can utilize. With the amulet, it's just going to be tough to take this monster down. You have access to the healing amulet if you don't have any legendary amulets. If you do have some legendary amulets, well then you have access to like Altus' amulet and other great amulets. But with that being said, she's also in the books, adventures, and underworld. And so far, I am just completely amazed with what she has to offer. I am so looking forward to talking about her skills. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of these names. I'm just going to use like the second word. So let's go into it. We have Chant. Applies a random skill to one ally, a random hater skill to one ally. Gives 1 extra turn to itself. Oh, 0 damage, 3 turn cooldown, 18 stamina cost. So again, this is the kind of skill that you apply to yourself. You give yourself hater, and then you can attack. It's very interesting, very powerful. Once again, considering this monster is geared to be an attacker with that amazing power, the fact that she can give herself a random hater, it could potentially work out for you, right? Maybe you give yourself sea hater and you're fighting a Thalassa, or a water hater, or a freeze hater if the Thalassa is frozen, I guess. But I guess that would involve trait disabling and stuff. But yeah, like, very interesting. It's random though, so it is going to be a combination of like gambling with just raw damage output, and it's cool that you give yourself an extra turn. Let's see what else she has to offer. We have Curse, deals moderate fire damage to all enemies. Here's your AoE skill. Oh wow, I just realized 30 damage, no cooldown. So you have a spammable 30 damage fire-based AoE that also applies Burn and Nightmares. I don't think we often see AoEs that are spammable and can apply dots. So this is really good because of the enemy, and nowadays so many enemy monsters can clear negative effects. You can literally keep reapplying a Nightmares and a Burn. That's cool. And again, even though it's only 30 damage, can you just imagine? Like I said, you use Chant, you happen to give yourself Taunt Hater, and then you hit Curse against like a Centurion. Like, wow, that is gonna destroy him. That has the potential to be very, very powerful. Next up we have Valor. Deals heavy special damage to an enemy, applies guard down to an enemy. You could also give yourself guard down hater. Applies shock to an enemy, applies bleed to an enemy. So another spammable skill. Does cost 25 stamina, but no cooldown. 50 special base damage, guard down, shock, and bleed. Lots of effects, and it's very nice that it has no cooldown, so you're essentially immune to cooldowns activated, from what I can tell. And again, in terms of having like your stamina drained, you have access to the staff, so even if you get your stamina drained, Cane of Atlantis, Energizer Staff, something can recover your stamina. Let's move on. We have Trickery. Applies a random elemental weakness skill to an enemy, applies a random elemental weakness skill to an enemy, deals very heavy magic damage. That's new. So you have a magic attack even though you're a fire monster, and it's 60 damage, 1 turn cooldown. This has the potential to be very, very powerful because it applies 2 random elemental weaknesses. Multiple ways to interpret this, right? Maybe the enemy becomes weak to magic, in which case your attack is now dealing 90 damage. Keep in mind, maybe you have this monster rank 1, so you have that self-damage increased. I feel like this monster was specifically made to kill very tanky monsters, and nowadays there's a lot of tanky monsters in the game. So yeah, you can, like, if you make the enemy weak to fire and magic, that would be ideal for yourself. You could also synergize, like, what if you have your rank 1, so you have the self-damage increase. What if you also have, you use Chant on yourself and you just happen to give yourself the hater for whatever the enemy monster is. Maybe it's a sea monster and you gave yourself sea hater. You made them weak to magic attacks. Oh my goodness, the possibilities are endless. And then applying random elemental weakness twice. This either will give them 2 elemental weaknesses or maybe just 1. Or especially because the enemy monsters have tough, hard, and bulwark, so at least something will land. And I love that it's the elemental weakness before dealing the heavy magic damage attack. If it would have dealt heavy magic damage first and then elemental weakness, that wouldn't have been as powerful. So it's kind of like introducing back Darmit's Bodyguard, his old skill that used to make fire weakness and a fire-based attack. It's essentially that. That's very powerful. I'm surprised it's 60 damage and a 1 turn cooldown. Wow, you can literally do this on turn 1, next turn do Chant, and then do Trickery again. Wow. And we have Justice. Applies damage boost to our allies, precision to our allies, and an immediate extra turn. Oh my goodness. That is so good. That is phenomenal. Especially because of the increased accuracy, meaning you will not be missing your attacks. Wow, so you have 2 extra turn skills, one of which grants a hater, one sets a damage boost and increased accuracy. I wonder if that damage boost could stack with your self-damage increase. I don't think so, but if it could, oh my gosh, you just become such a powerful monster. And this is still unranked. We haven't even talked about tier 4 skills. Wow. Next up we have Rage. Deals moderate dark damage to an enemy, deals moderate dark damage to all enemies, applies nightmares to all enemies, requires cooldown. So see, Zenfira would have been a great monster to be able to hold Sword Relic, because then you could have done Nishan Sword, and then whether you do Curse or whether you do Rage, that applies nightmares to enemy monsters. So this skill is pretty powerful, because this will apply 30 dark damage to a single enemy monster twice, and then residual 30 damage to the allies. So another 60 damage to a single enemy monster while also dealing 30 to the allies. Pretty powerful. It also applies to nightmares. Nightmares will drain enemy HP and drain some stamina. Very good. Moving on, we have Blessing. Removes negative status effects from itself. Applies shock to all enemies. Shock prevents extra turns, by the way. Applies double damage to all allies. Removes positive effects from itself. Okay, so let me think about this. You clear all negative effects, so if you had any negative effect, it's gone. You shock the enemy, you double damage to all allies, but then you lose your positive effects. So, I don't think I like this skill too much. If anything, it's more of a supportive skill, because you're giving double damage to your allies, and you're shocking the enemy. But you lose your own buff, and I'm not a fan of that. Especially if you had your rank 4 skill or rank 1 skill, you would lose your self-damage increase and your random hater. So, not a fan of that. And then especially, yeah, I'm not a fan of this skill, so I think you can do without the Blessing. Moving on, we have Cunning. Removes all negative effects from all allies. Applies True Vision to all allies. Applies Evasion to all allies. What the heck? How are these skills even in the same category? So why would anyone pick Blessing when you can do Cunning? So it removes negative effects from your whole team. Your whole team gets True Vision, so you don't miss any of your attacks. Double damage to your whole teams. And you... Wait, no, not double damage. Sorry, I mixed them up. So removes negative effects, True Vision, Evasion, and a damage boost. I would rather take the Evasion damage boost than the shock to the enemies. Wow, that's fantastic. That's a fantastic support skill. It's great too because you can literally do like Justice for the damage boost and precision, and then you can give your whole team Evasion and kind of set up for the next attack. And then I love that it cleanses. It's always nice to have an attacker monster that can cleanse because you never know when you'll need it. And it's only a 30 stamina cost. That is nice. Moving on, we have, what is that, Aegis? Applies triple damage to itself for 2 turns, applies precision, applies skill mirror to itself. Wow. So this is one of those skills where you can literally let the enemy attack you, and then you'll reflect it with triple damage and increased accuracy. There's some setup involved in this. I think you probably won't need this skill. Depending what team you have, you could activate this skill and then turn transfer onto yourself, right? And then if you're rank 1, you'll have the triple damage, you'll have your self-damage increased, immediate churn, the increased accuracy so you don't miss. I mean, honestly, if this monster even does skill mirror and you turn transfer, let's say you have Sammy, right? And you turn transfer, you would actually give a turn back to Sammy thanks to the skill mirror. Sammy can do Pestilence, make him weak to special attacks. Like, there's so much you can do. Or even better, if you do skill mirror and then you're able to do chant on yourself, you would give yourself 2 extra turns thanks to the skill mirror. It would trigger twice. So lots of synergy this monster can do with herself and with teammates. So in terms of getting this monster unranked, I think you're gonna be fine. In terms of getting this monster unranked, see, here's the thing about Forsaken monsters. Because the only way to get their cells is to purchase them essentially, a lot of times, depending what league you're in, you can't really use a Forsaken monster. Now, in my opinion, Centurion changed this because you don't need a rank 5 Centurion to be competitive. You can have a rank 1 Centurion and utilize his trait, essentially. If you can get this monster unranked or even rank 1, she is definitely usable just because the amount of damage she can deal, whether the monster is ranked or not, the amount of damage she can deal is quite amazing compared to other level 100 monsters. So even if you get this monster unranked or at least at rank 1, she's going to be quite a powerful attacker, I think, to have in your arsenal. But with that being said, let's talk about tier 4 skills. I am excited about this. Alright, we have Shriek. Removes positive effects from all enemies. Applies guard down to all enemies. Applies random elemental weakness to all enemies. Deals moderate fire damage to all enemies. Welcome Darmit's bodyguard skill, but on steroids. So, first of all, removes positive effects. If the enemy team has evasion, if the enemy monster has skill mirror, it is gone. Guard down is next, meaning your attack will not miss. Your next attacks will not miss, assuming guard down lands. Random elemental weakness. I mean, this is going to be random, right? So you would hope it's fire, but it's going to be random, so you don't really know. So I guess not really Darmit's bodyguard 2.0 scale, but you kind of get what I mean, right? For that off chance that it does land on fire, that's going to be powerful because then you deal your fire damage. But again, even if it doesn't land on fire or whatever, next turn you can do, which one was it? Was it Trickery? And now you're landing like 3 different random elemental weaknesses on an enemy monster. Oh, you know what? On a Megaton monster specifically though, this is going to be powerful because I guarantee you, well, not guarantee you because there's 9 elements, but there's a high likelihood that one of those elements is fire. So depending on who you attack, if it's a monster that has Megatons, you're going to potentially land the fire weakness on that monster, and then you're going to hit him with an AoE 30 damage, right? Because it's an AoE, so the enemy monster will get weak to fire, and then fire-based AoE, fire-based AoE, fire-based AoE. So this potentially can OTK an enemy Megaton monster if the fire elemental weakness lands, especially if you're rank 1, because you have that damage increase on top of that. Not to mention, you can give yourself an extra turn, right, and give yourself a random hater. That could maybe help you out. Or, if it can stack, if your, hopefully, the self-damage increase can stack with the damage boost, that's even more powerful. So, great synergy there, great synergy there. I'm loving it. And moving on, we have critical. Deals moderate special damage to all enemies, applies bleed, gives 1 extra turn to itself. I mean, fantastic. You literally have a 30 special based AoE that applies bleed, and then you can go into another skill. So literally, if you do curse and critical, that's 60 damage AoE, essentially in a turn, right? Your biggest worry is anticipation monsters, but that is, my goodness, that is powerful. And not only that, the enemy monsters, aside from getting hit with 30 damage special based AoE, they literally also got hit with bleeding, with burning, and with nightmares. But wait, it's not 60 damage, because before that, you can do justice to give yourself a damage boost and precision. So now your attacks is not missing guaranteed. The damage boost will boost critical and curse. So it's essentially like what? They deal 45 each. So that's 45, 45, 90 damage AoE. But wait, you also have your self-damage increase, so maybe you don't even need to do that extra turn from Justice. Or if it does stack, it's even more powerful. Oh my goodness, this is gonna be such a powerful, powerful, powerful monster. Powerful attacker for sure. Like, who even cares about Radar at this point? Oh my gosh, let's keep going. We have Roar. Applies a random hater skill to one ally. Applies True Vision to one ally. Applies Shock to itself. Gives 1 extra turn to one ally. Requires cooldown. Shock to itself. Aw, why would you shock yourself? But anyhow, random hater skill, True Vision, so it doesn't miss. And so this is essentially a turn transfer skill. A turn transfer skill that can boost an ally. It's interesting too, because even though this monster is an attacker, I think you have enough skills where you could kind of make her a support monster, a setup monster. Right, you kind of have enough, right? Especially with skills like Cunning. Yeah, I think you have enough, but definitely more to the attacker route. Random hater skill, True Vision. I mean, technically, you could do this to yourself. You can activate Chance on yourself. Random hater, extra turn. You can do Justice, damage boost, precision, extra turn. You can do Roar on yourself for another random hater, True Vision, and Shock, so no more extra turns, right? But essentially, so I think the issue is if you do Roar on yourself, you wouldn't grant yourself that extra turn anymore. Ah, I see. So, no, at most you could only do that one hater. Okay, so you can't do this on yourself. I was thinking, dang, you could massive setup. You could random hater, damage boost, and then just follow up with a powerful skill. But no, I guess that's not necessarily, but this is a good turn transfer skill. And then the last skill you have is Hatred. It applies a random hater skill to all allies, applies double damage to all allies, applies damage mirror to allies, applies pierce to itself. Ooh, talk about the setup. So this monster, if you manage to do Hatred and then later on you turn transfer into this monster, you can literally attack whoever you want, whether there's a Megaton monster, whether there's not. You can do a ton of setup. That is fantastic. Great setup skill for sure. And last on we have, let's see, Phobos and Deimos. Applies a random hater skill to all allies, applies a random elemental weakness to all enemies, applies triple damage to all allies during 3 turns, and double damage. Oh my goodness, this monster has the potential to deal so much damage. Talk about an incredible ult in terms of setting up. My only issues with this is you don't apply pierce to yourself first. So right, if there's a Megaton monster, the Megaton monster is gonna absorb all the elemental weakness and all the, and know that your allies still get hater. No, overall it's a fantastic support, right? Your whole team gets double damage, triple damage, and random hater. And unless the enemy plays like a nanovirus on you or a positive effects block, you're gonna be getting those guaranteed. And then yeah, the enemy could potentially get hit to something random. This monster is a lot of setup, a lot of powerful damage output. I love it. I think this is unique. We haven't seen a monster that can do stuff of this caliber. Zenfira is certainly a force to be reckoned. And again, I think honestly, as much as I love like tier 4 skills, I don't think you necessarily need them as much. If you can get this monster to rank 2, where you could have critical, I think that would be phenomenal there. To be able to utilize 2 AoEs back to back, especially against the likes of Megaton monsters, she's gonna be amazing. Ideally, right, if you can get a rank 3, you'd get that possession immunity, so that'd be less to worry about. if you could get rank 4 and have the area random hater and then use chant for another hater, like obviously at rank 4 she is at her best, she's phenomenal. But I think at rank 1, if you can get this monster rank 1, and that is totally doable, I think you'll be fine. I think you'll have so much fun with her. Definitely try to get her at rank 1. If you get this monster unranked, I think she is still fantastic and fine. So definitely try to do that at the very least. Overall, I gotta say, I'm really liking this monster. And it's really hard to impress me with attackers, because attackers tend to be kind of basic, let's be honest. Like, the funnest monsters are the support monsters, the deny monsters, deny they can support and all that. But this is a fantastic attacker, in my personal opinion. In terms of skill sets, there's a lot of different nifty stuff you can do. I would say definitely utilize the chant, right? The extra turn skills are good. Curse, even though it's tier 1, is one of her best skills. A 30 damage fire-based AoE that has no cooldown with a low 25 stamina cost that burns in nightmares. The enemy monster is always going to have dots on them, let's be honest, right? If you don't get this monster ranked up, you have to run Justice. If the self-damage increase can stack with Justice, of course run it. I mean, it's so straightforward. Damage boost, increased accuracy. Heck, even if it doesn't stack, you might want to run it just for that precision so you don't miss your attacks, right? Trickery and Justice, phenomenal. Curse, phenomenal. And I feel like even you're gonna probably go support skill, probably Cunning, right? For the evasion, true vision, damage boost, removing negative effects. So much stuff you can do. I would feel bad saying you have to run these specific skills. There's so much you can do. I think her skill set is going to be shifting depending on the specific war or PvP attack. But she's phenomenal in my personal opinion. She's an attacker. Give her 2 strength and a speed. Give her 2 strength and team speed. Heck, you might be able to get away with 1 strength. It really depends who you're facing, what kind of opponents you're facing. If you're facing level 130 monsters and you're not a level 130 yourself, yeah, you're going to need the 2 strength. But if you're facing like level 120s or 115s, heck, with all her setup, you might be able to get away with a single strength and then like double speed or something. So you're going to be able to shift a lot with this monster. And so this has been a monster analysis on Zenfira. Please let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this monster? Is she amazing? Am I overhyping her? Any thoughts, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you very much, and I will see you all next time.